from WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Well, hi, everybody. With Janelle Sabin and Sue Novoitsky, my name is Paul Peck, and we begin our fourth week here of Beat the Champ at the Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls. And Sue, it was just shy of 2 years ago when it all started right here, the return of Beat the Champ.
I know. I can't believe it's been 2 years already. And you know, when this thing began, it was a collaborative effort for all of the proprietors to want to bring back the show and bring back bowling. But one of the main contributors was Len Pim, who owns 3 of the bowling centers. This one, Rapids, where we're going to have highlight reels from all of those centers. But Rapids, Jamestown, and also Tonawanda Bowling Center, which I had a lot of experience because I worked there for some time. So thanks to Len for being a big part of Beat the Champ coming back.
Yeah, and again, the fans and the competitors have all been a big part of this show, Janelle, and we've had guys emerge as heroes and upset stories. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always so much excitement here. We've traveled all over Western New York, and we're going to just keep on traveling, go around to all the different centers and see the community that comes out for all these bowlers.
Yeah, so let's take a look back at some of the great bowlers and some of our great memories of Beat the Champ. Let's get rolling. On the right is our top qualifier. That's Brandon Gotti, 27 years old from Grand Island, and Berto on the left, 34 years old from Gasport. Kind of interesting, Sue. We've got a pair of lefties in this opening match.
Yep, it's going to make a difference is how the lanes break down with the 2 lefties.
Jason will start first as we play the PBA style here.
Good shot out of the gate. Played that just the way he wanted to.
Explain our format and our style for us here, Sue.
So the high qualifier gets to choose whether they want to finish the match or start the match. In this case, he wants Jason to be the one to come up and have to force him to strike to win if the match is close at the end.
Mm-hmm. It's the strategy you see in all other sports. You want to know what you have to do to win at the end.
Right, in this case.
So here's our first roll for Brandon Gotti.
Good shot off his hand.
These guys are serious. They're off to a good start, aren't they? What a great way to get Beat the Champ rolling again here at the Rapids Bowling Center, Niagara Falls, as both Brandon and Jason have had strikes on the first frame, and based on the performance of these guys in the qualifier, and as we talked about, an 8-11 for Brandon, a 7-85 for Jason. These guys wanted to be here in this opening match.
Yeah, this is an exciting spot to be in.
Left the 1 pin.
Brandon throws a lot of ball. He hooks the ball a little bit more than Jason does. So although they're playing the same spot on the lane, the way they get to it is different. So Brandon's ball is a little bit more aggressive.
That's going to be an open frame for Brandon Gotti in frame number 2 here. And now a chance for Jason to take a little early control of this match.
That's right. Although it's a common spare, it's an easy spin. It's an easy spare to miss when you're nervous.
Mm-hmm. And we can understand that might be the case here.
Could be.
These guys aren't used to crowds and TV cameras and all of Western New York watching.
This is true. Nice shot. Lane 30 seems to be a little bit tighter for Jason. During practice, I could see he was coming up a little bit light on lane 30, so he made the adjustment he needed to make.
Explain what that means. Explain how that affects what these guys want to do.
Well, no 2 lanes are the same. They oil the lanes the same, but there's always little characteristics that make them different. And in this case, the oil's a little bit heavier on lane 30, causing the ball to hold off hooking. So you have to make the adjustment. Move your eyes a little bit to the right or move your feet a little bit to the left. Great shot. That was a confident shot. That's a shot that says he want to put the smack down a little bit on you.
Well, and Jason has really competed and won at a very high level. You know, second in the Oberauer Masters, which is Buffalo's premier bowling tournament. He won the New York State Masters in 2005. He's won some big ones.
Nice shot. Oh, very nice off his hand.
That 7 pins kind of holding him up here the last couple, isn't it?
Yeah,
It was wobbling. It looked like it might be ready to go.
That's just the difference in direction. Jason's going more at the pocket, where Brandon has to go away from the pocket. Creates a little bit of different angle.
Got a nice little kick there. Wasn't sure that was going to make it or not. So, is that just the approaches that you're talking about? Just different bowlers do different things?
That ball actually there went in the gutter. They're going to have to take that off.
Oh, okay.
If it touches the gutter at all, even if it bounces out and hits the pins, unfortunately, it's still going to be an open. Very nice.
So that'll be 2 straight opens for Brandon until he comes back with that strike right there.
That corner pin's a little tricky. When you miss it once, you tend to want to compensate. And then it gets even more difficult.
Here's Siliberto looking for his 4th consecutive strike. Oh. You could hear the reaction of the crowd. They were on literally on pins and needles waiting for that one to come down.
You can see that the angle to the pocket is just a little bit, it's not as strong. So that was actually a lucky love tap right there.
So it's 4 straight now for Jason. That's the first time he's left any pins as we've started this match here, our opening match here on Beat the Champ from the Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls, New York. And good start with 5 straight strikes, and now Jason will have a little cleanup work to do. Operations associate at M&T Bank is Jason's full-time job. Well, he might tell you it's bowling, right?
He bowls a lot. Great spare, great cover on that spare.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
There's 2 in a row.
Oh, he didn't love that shot, but it ended up in the right place.
Does it right? It doesn't matter how, it's how many, right?
You can see him loosen up a little bit. Little body language going on now.
Yep. The PBA style is what these guys are used to in their competition bowling, and it makes sense for that to be doing it this way, right?
Yeah, that's very typical for match play format. So they're very used to going at this style.
8th frame now for Jason Siliberto.
Wow, nice shot.
Boy, on a roll right now.
He's got a commanding lead here. Need to score.
And at this point, he probably can just take it easy and cruise, and there you see the updated scores. Nice, big, comfortable 60-plus pin lead for Jason Siliberto. He is sharp today.
That strike secures the win. He needed that to shut Brandon out.
So Jason Siliberto will be our first Beat the Champ winner here. After an impressive performance, you know, practice makes perfect. Jason bowls regularly Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays in leagues. And of those 3 nights of the week that he bowls, his lowest average is 233. That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive. And that's here at Rapids. He holds that average 233. So he's used to the scoring conditions here. So he's probably a little comfort level.
Is there such a thing as a home alley advantage because he already bowls here?
There can be. When you know how you know what ball to bring out, you know where to stand on the lane, you know where to start. It takes some of the question factor out. It's much more a mental game than people give it credit for.
Yeah. And again, a late dropping 7-pin to at least keep Brandon's score looking respectable here.
I think there was just a little nerves involved today for Brandon.
Yeah, like we said, this is new to these guys, and some of these younger guys certainly may remember this show and have watched this. They've certainly watched PBA bowling for a long time. But it's different to be in the middle of it.
It certainly is. I'm sure we'll see Brandon coming out to try again.
He is certainly a name to remember in the local bowling community. And again, when you come in as the top qualifier for this event,
Pressure's
that says
on
an
you.
awful lot.
Sure
Right, the pressure is on you, but it also says a lot about what you are able to accomplish and what you'll be able to do.
Absolutely. It took him a 270 average to be in that spot. So the man can strike.
Yes, he can. Nice round of applause there. And Jason Siliberto getting ready to finish off his final break. So Jason, a chance to kind of a little walk-off victory here. Get the cheers of the crowd as he finishes this off.
Now would be a good time to maybe test out another bowling ball and see whether
There you go,
you
there,
can
right?
eliminate those corner pins.
There's the strategy part of it at play. Yep. This is why you're in the Hall of Fame, isn't it?
You know when to pull out the new bowling balls and give them a shot. Technology is very critical to this game these days.
Right. And Jason Siliberto there, finishing it off.
230 plus is a nice way to
Sure is, right in that
open the day.
in that range of his averages,
That's right.
That's
right.
Consistency. If you can be consistently in that target area of the 230, you're going to win a lot of these matches.
You're going to win a
aren't
lot of matches.
And there you go. That's the exclamation point. So it's Jason Siliberto with a handshake to Brandon Gotti as Jason Siliberto comes up our first winner here on Beat the Champ from the Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls.
We'll meet the champ after this short break.
Grab your balls, we're going bowling.
The challenger for Mike Sarcone is that gentleman, 31-year-old Mike Kemp from Cheektowaga, another first-time Beat the Champ bowler. We'll try to knock Mike Sarcone off from a stretch of 2 consecutive wins for Mike, and Mike Sarcone, that is, and now we get to see what Mike Kemp is made of. Good, solid 233 cumulative average for Mike, who is an analyst at M&T Bank and has been bowling for well over 25 of those 31 years. First throw from Mike, and it's a strike. We haven't seen a lot of first-time
No.
first throw strikes, so Mike Kemp is busting the trend there right off the bat.
That's exactly the way he wanted to come out of the gate.
So we got a pair of righties here. We haven't had that. I don't know if that's happened since we've been here in Tonawanda with a pair of righties going against each other.
I would agree to that.
And here's the first throw for Mike Sarcone.
Great shot.
Mike's on a roll here. You know, you can just sense it. We know how good he is. We know what high levels he's competed. He's a Greater Buffalo Hall of Fame bowler, but you can just sense that he's found his groove a little bit.
Yeah, well, he knows how to make a shot. You know, he knows when it comes down to needing to find a mark, like we've seen in the last match. He's found a way to get to where he needs to get to, and that's experience. We're
at the Tonawanda Bowling Center in Tonawanda, just off the 290. And that's 2 in a row for Mike Sarcone, who, as I mentioned, will be inducted later in the year into the Greater Buffalo USBC Hall of Fame. That announcement came out about a month or so ago, and the event will be held at Samuel's Grand Manor in Clarence in November. That's the gala of the year for Western New York bowling, right?
That's
You're
right.
going to break out your glitziest dress for that one, aren't you?
They only do it now every 2 years, so it's quite an honor to be inducted.
And Mike Kemp, a little Hall of Fame level bowling there on strikes on his first 2 throws.
Answering the call.
Thursday night regular at Transit with a 233 average. Friday nights at Airport Lanes with a 231 average. There's our Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard showing how tight things are. Ultimately, as tight as it can get. Mike, former bowler at Maryvale High School, went to the States his junior year in 2001 and helped Maryvale Flyers finish second in the state that year. 8 career, 300 games.
Great
nice.
shot.
Boy, we're off to a rip-roaring start here. Nothing but X's on the board.
That's pretty impressive coming out of the gate for his first
Sure
time on
is.
television.
Yep, sure is. And here's Mike, 48 years old, from Tonawanda, New York, with a 238 average. Just drawing a lot of X's here.
It's kind of weird when when your opponent is struggling or not bowling as well. It can actually make you relax and bring your game down. And when the game is brought up, it brings your game up as well. So many times when you play down to your opponent as opposed to matching your opponent. I think we have that here.
So far we do, as we hit the 4th frame with nothing but strikes on the board. And there's the first one that's not a strike, as Mike leaves a couple of pins in the left corner there.
We refer to that as the fast 8.
A fast 8, huh?
Yeah, when a ball hits the pocket like it's striking, it could be, if anything, a 4-pin, but you leave the 4-7. It's a fast 8. See how fast that stayed up there?
Why is it a fast 8 if you leave the 4 and the 7?
Because you got 8 pins down. Should have been a
Okay.
strike, but it does. It happens really, really fast. It's like, it looks like it's going to be a strike, and then there's the 2 pins standing there.
Gotcha. Add that to your list. Add that to your lingo list.
Fast 8.
Fast 8. We got a new
Was
one.
that on the PBA list?
Got a new one. I don't know. I'm going to check the PBA list. Yeah, you're making fun of me with the PBA list.
No, I'm not.
I told you, as soon as you do your own list, that will be the ultimate source.
I think that you would find some maybe regional. I'm sure different regions have their own little nuances, and
Well,
probably in a PBA it would be more of a national. So there would be things we didn't hear of here.
Is there something that's regional to Western New York that you know of that nobody else anywhere in the that if you said it to somebody in Chicago, they'd look at you funny?
I don't know if I should say. There's a term called a Reuben. Did you ever hear that term?
A Reuben.
A Reuben.
Unrelated to a corned beef sandwich, right?
Unrelated.
Okay.
That I feel is a regional term.
All right. What exactly is a Reuben?
Someone who throws it very, very straight.
Okay. I'm afraid to ask you why, so maybe I just won't. You know, almost got that knockdown on the 10 pin in the corner, did Mike Kemp, but he'll have to shoot for a spare here in the 5th frame. Mike has a 1-year-old child, and he said to us that definitely that kid's going to have a bowling ball in his hand as soon as he can get one, pick one up, and that's exactly what his dad did to get him to appreciate and love the sport, and he's going to do the very same thing for his kid.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
And that one did hook into the head pin, and Mike Kemp gets the strike in the 7th frame.
That was perfect. Just where he wanted it.
So back to Mr. Sarcone for the 7th frame here, looking for a 3rd consecutive victory is Mike Sarcone. He's got 82 career 800 series with a high of 865 and 90 career 300 games. Nice.
Think about how many games of bowling he's had to bowl in order to accomplish those numbers.
Yeah.
That is a lot of bowling.
Yep. Well, we told you he bowls 4 nights a week regularly around Western New York, and pretty sure those other 3 days he's probably somewhere at a bowling alley those 3 days too.
He can't miss a tournament. He can't miss a bowling date. He probably subs. This should be considered his first job and Top's his second job.
You might be right about that. Nice strike in the 8th frame for Mike Sarcone, and as usual, the veteran bowler is putting the heat on here late in the match. It's what he did to win over Steve Durabala in the match before this. And let's see how Mike Kemp responds.
Nice shot.
I'd say that's a good response.
Nice little tap on the 10 pin there. Very good shot.
That's 2 in a row strikes for Mike Kemp. Looking to make it 3. And we remain close and tight. Pair of Mikes going at it here at Tonawanda Bowling Center. Our 3rd week here at the TBC. Nice.
Great
Boy,
shot.
those pins went flying.
Remember, there's still time to qualify this weekend for next month's show at Jamestown Bowling Company. We have one more day of qualifying left on Sunday.
11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. qualifying flights tomorrow at the Jamestown Bowling Company, and the top 24 will roll off at 6 o'clock down in Jamestown. That's where we'll be for next month's series of shows down in the Southern Tier, as Sue mentioned, at the Jamestown Bowling Company. Here's Mike Sarcone in the 9th frame. Pounding on those pins as both Mikes are doing right now.
So if Mike punches out, he'll be a 3-pin winner.
Nice. Very nice. Stealing my lines. By punching out, you mean if he finishes with 3 consecutive strikes here,
That's
right?
exactly what I
Which
meant.
will mean he'll have finished with 6 consecutive. And he will punch a ticket to the next match as well. So it's the 10th frame now for Mike. And he's on his way. There's one of the 3 he needs. So now anything less than 2 more strikes leaves the door open for Mike Kemp.
He needs a strike and 8 to shut Mike out.
Strike and 8. Okay. Well, it's good knowing what your goals are here and knowing what you got to get. So let's see if Mike can do it. It's in his hands. Getting done what he needs to. So Mike Sarcone on the last throw here needs 8 pins, and he will win without even giving Mike Kemp a chance to even challenge him.
7 for a tie. 6 will open the door for Mike Kemp.
So let's see. And Mike Sarcone knows what he's got to do, and he knows how to respond to the pressure. And how about that? To clinch the victory,
He didn't
Mike
take any chances
Sarcone
on that
ends up with 6 consecutive strikes, and he will move on and attempt to become just the second Beat the Champ bowler to sweep a weekly show. And again, a nice performance by Mike Kemp, and boy, he put a lot of pressure on one of the best bowlers in Western New York, and Mike's got nothing to be ashamed of. He just ran into a machine that's bowling like a machine right now.
Yes, he did.
Well, you know, it's funny. You've known Mike Sarcone for a long time. I've gotten to know him a little bit through the course of the show because this has been the 4th time we've seen him on the show, and you almost sense that he's been a little frustrated that he's as good a bowler as he is, but he hasn't been able to break through on this show until now.
Until now, and he's breaking through in a big way because he's now got 3 wins since he couldn't get any.
That's right. Now he came in with a 1-2 Beat the Champ record. He's now up to 4-2. 3 wins in a row. And like we said, we've only had one other bowling. That was John Palmer last month at Manor Lanes 2, sweep a week. So it's a 258 to 233 win for Mike Sarcone over Mike Kemp. Next up to try to end Chuck Jagodzinski's streak is the man on the right there, Matt White, 33 years old from Warren, Pennsylvania, not far from here in Jamestown. He'll be the guy to try to end the 5-in-a-row streak of Chuck Jagodzinski. It's the way Chuck's bowling right now. It's a long shot, but Matt's a pretty good bowler in his own right. And that's something we have not seen much from Chuck. He's always started off well, so a little bit of an unusual leave there on the spare attempt.
I think even he's a little surprised by that ball reaction.
Well, he'll leave an open frame. Now, here's the question. Chuck's been doing a lot of bowling here, 5 wins in a row, and we've seen guys start to wear down a little bit. When we let Jim Mee answer this question as well, too, what are the things to look for to see if maybe he's starting to get a little tired?
Well, when he starts coming in high a little bit, or he might be getting a little slow and he's getting a little bit of early ball reads, which makes it go through the nose like the last shot.
Here's Matt White, and his first ball is a strike. As I mentioned, 33 years old, works for an excavating company in Warren, Pennsylvania, which is only 20 miles or so from here in Jamestown. A cumulative 236 average for Matt White, and an interesting background and career for Matt. And he bowls plenty out of here at Jamestown, Jim, so you know him pretty well. Give us the scouting report on Matt.
Yes, Matt's been a great scratch bowler for a lot of years. He travels all over. He's won a lot of tournaments. Travels with my son a lot, actually. They're good friends, so... And he's been really good for my son's upbringing.
And he will leave that 4-pin there in the second frame.
It is quite a release he has.
What jumps out at you? What is it that you just noticed about that, Sue?
He's just got a sharp release. He's just got good power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit of an unusual role. It's more of a really true great bowler.
Jim Mee, the owner of the Jamestown Bowling Company and an outstanding bowler himself over the years, is joining us here as we take on match number 2. Matt White and Chuck Jagodzinski, and there's a spare for Matt in the second frame here. So Matt is trying to keep the pressure on Chuck, who has to fight off that open frame in the first here, looking for his 6th consecutive victory. And the sticky 10-pin will hold up.
And as he keeps bowling, the lane conditions will change a bit, and he'll have to, it may change his ball reaction, it may change his carry, so he's going to have to fight through that right now.
Got the spare ball out there with the bowling glove on the inside, and he'll grab the spare in the second frame with Chuck Jagodzinski. We mentioned historic achievements for Chuck here at the Jamestown Bowling Center. He has won 5 in a row. Nobody has done that in the revival of Beat the Champ. He has 2 weekly trophy wins, going for a 3rd. No one has, well, actually, Matt Zazowski has 3, but only one other bowler has more than 1. And he's looking for a 2nd weekly sweep, and that's only happened once before, and that was John Palmer who did that a couple of months ago. So Chuck has really got a chance to etch himself all over the record books if he can keep winning, but this guy's got something to say about that. And that's the way you say it right there. Now, Matt White's story is kind of interesting, and Jim, obviously you know him pretty well. Matt started bowling at a very young age of about 5 years old, but then gave up the game to become a professional four-wheel racer, and did that for many years and had not bowled very much at all until about, what, 6 or 7 years ago?
Yeah, about that. He actually he started getting injured quite a bit, and he was trying to bowl and do the motocross or the four-wheeling at the same time, and eventually he just almost had to give up the bowling up if he kept doing that. So, and there's a little more money in bowling, I think.
Not quite as much
Four-wheeling
speed and
must really
danger.
pay bad then.
Not quite as much speed
you're right.
and danger. Yeah. A little safer sport, I would assume. So,
A little safer.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Matt was he actually started bowling because they had a short alley in his basement at home. So that's how he kind of got into the game, and then transitioned to the four-wheelers and now back to the bowling. Here's Chuck. He's been bowling since he's 8 years old. And the 10-pin holds up once again. And the strike's not coming quite as consistently as they have been for Chuck.
Just a subtle change in his ball reaction.
He's trailing at the moment, is Chuck Jagodzinski. And he'll grab a spare in the fourth frame.
It's down 21 pins after 3.
So Matt White has 3 strikes in his first 4 frames, and that's really put the pressure on Chuck. And that 10-pin again. Which pin is that that's not quite flying over there to take the 10-pin out?
That'd be the 6-pin.
6-pin.
Okay.
Yeah, he just switched balls too to try to kick it out, but it didn't seem to make any difference.
Yeah, he switched back to the ball that he used a few weeks back.
Spare in the 5th for Chuck. So his first 5 frames are open, spare, strike, spare, and spare. Nothing wrong with that, but just not what we've been seeing from Chuck, who almost consistently has had 3 or 4 strikes in his first 5 frames. Matt bowls on Monday nights at Riverside Lanes, which I assume is probably in Pennsylvania, Jim, right? And then Valley Bowling on Thursdays, and then subs in here during some doubles tournament runs as well also.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
And he will leave the 10-pin. 40 career 300 games for Matt, high 858 series and 2800 series for Matt White. Pittsburgh Bowling Tour mid-year tournament champion. Won a couple of other tournaments down in the Pittsburgh area in the last 4 or 5 years. Seventh frame spare for Matt White.
17-pin match. Matt's up. They're both starting with spares, so whoever strikes the most now wins.
Gotcha. Pretty simple. And that will not be a strike right there.
Well, I think it's going to be the person that figures out that left lane first that's going to be the winner.
Yeah, we've had quite a little difference between 17 and 18 here. So Matt's got to finish off this spare in the 8th frame.
He's already crossing the arrows so deep on the lane.
And he will. So after 4 of the first 5 strikes for Matt White, he has gone open and back-to-back spares here on the backside of 6, 7, and 8. And here's Chuck Jagodzinski in the 8th frame. Can the streak stay alive? A little wobble by the 10-pin, but it wouldn't go down.
Chuck's got his wife Michelle and his son Noah here cheering him on. Don't forget, coming up at the end of this match, or at the end of our show, our next match, it's the Gary Pools Great Grill Giveaway Watch and Win Word. You can go to WBBZ.TV and enter to win a Broilmaster H4 Deluxe Gas Grill from Gary Pools and Leisure. 9th frame strike for Chuck Jagodzinski. Needed that, didn't he, Sue?
He absolutely needed that. So now he's in a position where he can, his highest score is 237. I'm sorry, 207.
So what does Matt need to do here in his final 2 frames?
Stay clean.
Stay clean.
A double in there would not hurt.
There
Great
you go.
shot.
Big strike in the 9th frame for Matt White. He may be on the verge of ending our record-setting streak of 5 in a row by Chuck Jagodzinski. We're not done yet, but Matt's got himself in a position to do it and win on one of his home bowling alleys, one of his home houses here in Jamestown, New York.
That was actually a good break for him. That could have been a wide open split.
And Matt looks up and checks the scores and ponders his next move here in the 10th frame.
Well, at this point, he can't shut Chuck out. His best finish will be 203, and Chuck can still strike out for 207.
Pretty close, but he was able to get the spare, so one more, and boy, he really needs a strike here.
Well, he needs decent count, but no matter what he leaves here, it's still going to be, Chuck's still going to need a double.
So high drama here at the Jamestown Bowling Company. Feel the tension in the air.
He wants 7 or better, that's for sure.
And he got it. Huge strike by Matt White to post up a 203 score on the board. So now it's Chuck Jagodzinski facing the 10th frame. What has to happen, Sue?
Double 7. Double 2 strikes and a 7 count.
And that isn't going to get it done. So the streak for Chuck Jagodzinski that has been incredible for us to watch and a joy for us to watch is going to come to an end, and there's nothing wrong with that. An incredible run of 5 in a row as Chuck Jagodzinski won back-to-back weekly trophies, a sweep of a week, and 5 in a row. And he finishes with a strike there. He'll have one more. It will not quite be enough as we get a 187 score for Chuck Jagodzinski, and it's a 203 to 187 win for Matt White. It is match number 3 as Kevin Bianco looks to continue the win streak, but standing in his way is one of the best bowlers in Western New York in Chuck Jagodzinski, making his 9th appearance here on Beat the Champ, an overall record of 8 wins and 5 losses, and we know how good Chuck is, and he's been very good here at the Rapids Bowling Center. He was the top qualifier coming into this month's shows, which earned him the television from Dirt Cheap TV, valued at $500. So if Kevin wants to set a record, he's going to do it by knocking off one of the best guys out there.
Oh yeah, you know that, and Chuck's quite the competitor. We know he comes in here and
Yes,
he
we
means
do.
business. He does
As
not
someone-
like to lose.
As someone who's had to do those interviews after he doesn't win, I know how big a competitor he is.
I think when that happens, I am the least favorite person in Chuck Jagodzinski's world.
I know, you gotta stand back a couple steps just in case, because he does he does not like to lose.
So Kevin Bianco off to a good start. Remember, that's 6 wins in a row, which ties the Beat the Champ record. So a win in this match will give him a new record for consecutive wins. And we know how hard that has been to do, you know, just to maintain a high level of play and to do it sometimes through 2 different bowling centers, because that would be the case here, as Kevin won his first 4 at Alley Brandt and has now won 2 here at the Rapids Bowling Center. And generally, the guys who have had the long winning streaks have had to do it over 2 different places.
Right, and like you just said, that not only is it multiple places, but it's multiple stages of breakdown on the lane. So it's like not necessarily in the beginning when you get the fresh oil, or at the end when the oil starts to break down. It has just been a stumbling block for everyone to get to that 7th win. And it's really interesting.
Chuck Jagodzinski's from Lancaster, New York, 49 years old, a full-time employee of the Attica Correctional Facility. And that's a spare for Chuck here in the 2nd frame. He is 6th overall in wins here on Beat the Champ with the 8 wins that I mentioned. We haven't seen Chuck in a while. We have not seen him since January when he bowled down at Jamestown. And Chuck knows what it's like to win consecutive matches. He won 5 in a row up at Jamestown in June of 2016.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that hang spot, or the strippy lane condition. Chuck drifts when he walks in. If you watch Chuck line up, he's lining up further to the right. It almost looks like he's going to be playing the outside of the lane, and he walks quite a bit to the left. And sometimes that can really, you know, make you a hair inconsistent, because you have to walk the same way all the time or you're going to miss your target. And obviously he's pretty good, but in this case he missed a little bit to the right and the ball didn't come back up.
So it's an open frame in the 3rd for Chuck Jagodzinski, and now to 21-year-old Kevin Bianco, full-time student from Tonawanda. This is his 15th year of bowling. And he has started with 3 consecutive strikes. And as we mentioned, the reigning Obenauer Masters champion, having defeated Brad Angelo in the finals of that very prestigious Western New York tournament. And you can see on the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, it's a great start for Bianco as he goes for 7 in a row. And once again lined up significantly to the left here, even on lane 27 as well. Hey, whatever's working, it's working.
Well, I'm going to use a little term here that bowlers will understand, and it's called, and the term is wheelhouse. And there's some bowlers that when they get into that spot, that sweet spot where they like to play and that suits their arm swing. Good shot by Chuck, but he's struggling a little bit to get to carry there. We call it, back to what I was saying, we call that your wheelhouse. Like when you're in that spot, and Kevin's in that sweet spot right now, then he's in his wheelhouse, and he's going to be tough to beat.
You know, and I think the experience for him from the Obenauer sort of makes you battle tested. You know, you have to win so many matches, you really don't have much of a chance to slip up if you want to win that match. And I think you almost feel like Kevin is treating this competition and this win streak as his own little mini Obenauer, which is just figure out a way to battle your way and keep winning and set a record and just stay on the show. Good strike for Chuck Jagodzinski in the 5th frame.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
See him hugging the rail on the left side of the lane. That's been his big adjustment as the conditions have altered a little bit here through the first show.
Now, point out there that he got that ball a little bit to the right of his target, but when you're in that right spot, you can get loose and you can actually create a little bit right and create a little bit left when you're in the right spot on the lanes. And he's away from that strippy hook spot there around the 10 board. So smooth sailing here for Kevin.
Currently a 44 pin advantage for Kevin Bianco, and going to be even more as he has gone 6 for 6 with strikes. I'll tell you what, he's getting better as this streak continues, as we've seen him now for the 2nd, 3rd time in the last 4 weeks. 6th frame, Chuck Jagodzinski, big deficit already. It's a nice way to cut into it.
Well, that's a nice double for Chuck right there. Very important time to have it.
3 in a row for Chuck Jagodzinski in frames 5, 6, and 7, trying to cut into that big margin of Kevin Bianco. Seventh frame now. Kevin is perfect through 6.
Definitely got right of his target on that one.
That's the first time he hasn't knocked them all down. Just a little, even though he's starting so much to the left, he just was a little bit to the right with the ball.
Yeah, so he could actually, he could cheat to that point, but he can't throw it to that point. What I mean is, his target is inside of that, and if he's around his target and the ball kind of just skates a little bit to the right, that's fine, but he actually threw it to that target. So it's not going to recover from there, but.
So it's a 9-pin open frame in the 7th for Kevin Bianco, and that reduces the deficit clearly, particularly with Chuck on a 3-in-a-row run, so.
Oh yeah, he's got this. If Chuck stays on this path, he's got it down to, you know, under 2 marks, under 20 pins. If you know, Chuck can continue to strike, so got a tighter match here.
Let's see what the bounce back is for Kevin. 9 pins, 10-pin hangs. So after 6 in a row to start this match, it's been open and at least spare here in frame number 8. Good start to our run here at the Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls. 3 terrific oh, wow. You knew it right away, didn't you?
Yeah, that was inside.
You knew it right away. So just a gentle touch of the 10-pin.
Thank you.
Wow, that is a bowler's nightmare right there. Perfect shot to the pocket and 8-pin true tap. That is just a matter of the ball driving through and not taking out the 8, which it normally does. Can't throw it any better.
So Chuck recovers for the spare, but certainly saw a big opportunity to really cut into the lead with a strike that he just did not get. So it's a 30-pin difference at the moment, heading to the 9th frame.
Well, as a fellow bowler, I can only say I feel his pain because that was a perfect shot. He couldn't have done anything any better.
Nothing you can do. So here's a chance, I think, for Kevin to put this away here in the 9th frame. Big strike. 9th frame for Kevin Bianco.
So he needs a mark here on the 10th, and that'll finish it off.
Don't forget, qualifying is going on this weekend at Classic Lanes. It'll come up later today, Saturday. There's a 4 o'clock flight, and then flights all day on Sunday with our top 24 roll-off coming up Sunday night for next month's Beat the Champ.
And don't forget, there's that guaranteed spot for women, so women need to get out there and bowl.
And also our top qualifier gets the television from Dirt Cheap TV valued at $500. Chuck Jagodzinski won it this month here at the Rapids Bowling Center. So you've got a chance to do that as well too. So Kevin Bianco is going to finish this one in style with a couple of strikes, and he's got a few more opportunities, but he is on his way to a record. And another strike there for Kevin Bianco. What a way to put himself in the Beat the Champ record books with a 7th consecutive victory. first guy to ever do that on the history of this show, which is approaching 2 years now. No one has ever won 7 consecutive matches until now. Kevin Bianco is going to do that. This throw to post up his final score, and he ends it with a strike. Kevin Bianco with a 255 to beat Chuck Jagodzinski. It's a new Beat the Champ record, a 7th consecutive victory. Well, thanks for watching. We hope you've enjoyed some of the great moments that we've brought to you in the nearly 2 years of bringing back Beat the Champ. And we got another show coming up next week. We've got a hot bowler again for the 2nd straight month. We're bringing a guy in on a winning streak. It's not Kevin Bianco this time, but it's Jeremy Zimmerman.
That's right. We have something new to look forward to, a new champion, maybe another 10 shows, who knows? But also, I'd like to mention it's back to bowling for everyone now the bowling season started. So keep watching and keep learning.
Yeah,
right?
and we love Jeremy Zimmerman, but if he wins 10 in a row, I'm not sure we're going to be able to handle any of them.
Oh my gosh, people won't want to come out anymore if he keeps winning. But we'll just have to see.
He's a great guy and a great bowler. Should be a lot of fun at Classic Lanes. That'll be next week on Beat the Champ.